you've ever seen some of the more popular action movies or have played any of the most popular shooting games, then there's one firearm that you've undoubtedly seen in at least one of its many variants. It's the Heckler & Koch, or simply HK G36. On today's episode, we're going to discuss a US-made clone of the German HK G36, the Tommy-built T36. Anyone who's dived into the world of HK products, or the G36 specifically, via forums or social media groups, knows that new production models exist, but not by HK. Instead, they know or have heard of Tom Bostic's name at least once due to his extensive knowledge with the G36. As to why you may not have seen a G36 of any kind at your local FFL, there are numerous reasons, but for the sake of this video, we'll only go over a couple. 1. HK never imported an actual G36 variant for the US civilian public due to import and export laws, and instead imported the SL8 rifle, the rifle that was mostly featureless with a thumbhole stock until it got the costly G36 conversion that it so desperately needs. And 2, which is more likely than most other reasons, would be the cost. The only G36s you might come across are used SL8 conversions, many of which were remarked with G36 style markings after being converted by Tom Bostic. But it's very unlikely that you'll see one of these pop up at your local FFL due to how much is invested in the conversion process. All said and done, a fully converted SL8 averages around $5,500.
Damn!
Well then, where can I get a T36? How much are they? Are they reliable? And who's Tom Bostic? All valid questions, and worry not, we will answer each of them, starting with Tom Bostic, the owner and founder of Tommy Built Tactical. Dating back to 2007, Tom Bostic had been doing SL8 to G36, as well as SL8 to XM8 conversions for thousands of customers, ranging from people like Larry Vickers, the owners of Silencer Co., Spikes Tactical, to average customers like you and I. At the time, Tom was one of only a couple people who did the conversions, and as a result, he became very well known within the HK fanboy realm. In late 2017, Tom was able to create his very own injection-molded, glass-filled nylon receivers, complete with his own logo and model designation that he dubbed the T36. Tom has a good relationship with HK, and out of respect, chose to mark his receivers in a way that they were undeniably his, and not of HK manufacture. This way, there's no violation of intellectual properties or copyright issues. A few months after making his receivers available, Tommy Built began selling complete pistols and rifles assembled entirely with American-made parts. A true American-made G36 built on his very own T36 receiver, allowing you to kiss those headaches of 922R compliance goodbye. Now that we know who Tom Bostic is, we can start getting into some of the pricing, since that is often the most influential portion of any purchase. Tommy Built is constantly creating new products, so these prices and product availability are subject to change. I ordered my T36K pistol directly from Tommy Built and paid around $2,700. As for the T36C, it was acquired secondhand through a trade. This of course sounds like a tremendous amount of money, and we aren't here to say that it isn't. But on the contrary, it's about half the cost of an SL8 conversion, which is the only other option you have to own a G36 if you don't opt for a T36. The T36 makes far more sense to a buyer that really wants a G36 in form and in function, but doesn't care so much about the HK markings, whereas the SL8 conversion is more for those HK collectors that want their receivers to bear the HK trademarks. With that being said, you do have several options available to you, with prices ranging between $849 for the stripped receiver to $3,800 for a custom shop rifle. He also offers featureless options for those of you living in People's Republics, and a $300 blackout option specific to the C model. When it comes to making rather large purchases such as these, other things that might influence your decision might be questions of reliability, availability of parts, or how it fares against other firearms. We will address some of those concerns, starting with reliability, as that is the most important. Between the extensive use in both the German military as well as law enforcement agencies all around the world, the system has already lent itself a proven track record, especially with the now debunked rumor of the G36 heat and accuracy issues. After putting a few hundred rounds through each of the T36s, we don't foresee a reason that they wouldn't perform the same way. So So long as you shoot the suggested ammunition, the 62 grain 5.56x45 NATO round, you should have no issues with your T-36 running reliably. When shooting 55 grain 223 Remington or even steel-cased ammunition, you may experience cycling issues as stated by Tommybuilt, due to how the G36 is designed to run with the higher pressured 5.56 round. That said, we've been testing an abundance of 55 grain 223 Remington Brown Bear and Wolf Gold and had one failure to fire with the Wolf Gold, but believe that to be a fault of the ammunition. Moving on to the quality, it's top notch, as it should be given what you're paying. The T-36 doesn't feel cheap, it feels rugged, and it feels like a military issued firearm should, with no corners cut. More people have either shot or handled an AR-15 as a recreational or even new shooter. So, for simplicity's sake, we will compare the T-36s to the AR-15. This should go without saying though, that the T-36 is obviously different in many ways, to include things like the ergonomics and the odd but cool manual of arms that shares no likeness to the AR-15. So, how does it shoot? With the barrel of the T-36C being 9 inches and the T-36K being 13, we stacked them up against our AR-15s that were most comparable in length and caliber, our 10.5 inch and 14.5 inch AR-15s. We both noticed that the T-36s felt much more enjoyable to shoot than their AR-15 counterparts in regards to felt recoil and controllability. Not a huge difference, but enough to notice. As for the weight differences between the T-36s and comparable AR-15s, we'd say it was close to negligible, provided that you were using the same accessories, optics, and are loading your mags to the same capacity. The T-36s felt lighter, but when looking at the numbers, they weren't significantly different. With that being said, that's about where the similarities end.
Yeah.
Because we've compared the T-36C and the K to the AR-15, I'm sure it's safe to assume that some may be wondering, well, if it's even slightly comparable, is it really worth getting instead of an AR-15? The short answer, from a utilitarian standpoint, is no. It doesn't do anything better than an AR-15, but it does everything differently than an AR-15. If you are looking for a budget-friendly plinker, or a just-in-case type of rifle for your zombie apocalypse scenario, the AR-15 is readily available. It's cheap, has an endless amount of accessories, and replacement parts are widely available from many sources. The T-36 platform is expensive, and it isn't quite as modular as your off-the-shelf AR. But modularity is on the rise, thanks largely to Tommybuilt and his creations, such as the ability to use STANAG mags, AR-15 fire control groups, the different top rails that he offers, and handguard configurations, all swappable via push pins. If you're looking for a viable self-defense gun, we've got no reason to say that the T-36 won't be a suitable gun for that, but there are options out there that would cost about 1/5 of what these do, and would accomplish the same task. Sure, they shoot the same rounds that you can put through your cookie-cutter AR-15, but not many people tend to smile after shooting an AR, or at least not that we've noticed. The T-36 has put more smiles on the faces of new and seasoned shooters around us than we've been able to keep count of. In fact, we've even had random shooters swing by to ask us to shoot the T-36, simply because they saw the iconic profile of the G36 from far away. So, what features and accessories come with the T-36? Each model will ship with a G36 pattern PMag, a Tommybuilt Patch For You patch hat operators and range bag decorators, and, depending on which model you choose, will come with a backpack or a high-quality rifle case made by Savior Equipment, unlike some of those other manufacturers charging an arm and leg for their product, only to leave you with a cheap and crappy cardboard box. Lastly, all models come with a lifetime warranty from Tommybuilt Tactical. Now let's get on to the features that both our models have, starting with the operating system itself. All T-36s as well as G36s feature a short stroke piston operating system with a rotating bolt. Both the T-36C and K feature free-floating barrels with a 1-in-7 twist rate and a standard 15x1 European thread pitch, or you can custom order your model to have the 1/2x28 threading. Both barrels are nitride coated, inside and out. At the muzzle is a 4-prong flash hider. The flash hider is slightly longer on the K, and as a result, you'll hear a tinnitus-ish ringing noise with each shot, or when letting the bolt go home. Moving on to the handguards. Our T-36 has the Picatinny rails installed on both sides, as well as the bottom, that we purchased separately. On the C model, you'll see that the handguard is shorter and has 2 slots, whereas the K is longer and has 4 slots to account for the longer barrel and piston assembly. Both handguards do, however, come with the hand stop that has 2 loops, one on each side, to rig a sling. On top of our T36 is the G36 styled Picatinny rail. The G36C rail does have integrated backup irons that are flippable that range from 100 to 200 to 300 meters. This is the standard rail that comes on all models offered by Tommy Built Tactical. Our T36K is topped with a genuine Hensoldt dual optic, which is obsolete by today's standards. These optics aren't widely available in the US, which makes them difficult to find, and when you can, they aren't cheap. The top portion of the Hensoldt optic features a red dot, and the bottom features a 3x magnification scope. The red dot portion of the optic is a neat feature, but requires a chin weld rather than a cheek weld. It's a pretty awkward position to shoot in, and I'm not much a fan of it. Another downside is that the batteries aren't easily found because they are a special 3.6 volt version of a AA. Alternatively, you could just slide that cover on top of the optic forward on brighter range days to conserve battery, as it acts like an ACOG where the more light the optic picks up, the brighter the dot will be. On our Hensoldt is a 3x magnification scope, which we find to be useful for longer shots, but if you're looking to shoot close targets and with speed, it's not entirely optimal. Then again, that's what the red dot on top is for. Underneath the optics rail is a reciprocating charging handle, which is also ambidextrous. That also doubles as a forward assist should you need it. Moving to the receiver itself, you've got the ejection port with some Tommy Built markings as well as the case deflector and stock catch. On the flip side, you've got Tommy Built's logo and model information. Unless you purchase a lower from HK Parts, or unless Tommy Built eventually starts offering them, the standard lower is a semi-auto SEF lower. If you'd rather have a lower that has the pictograph, or my personal favorite, the FBI 01 lower, you can drop ship these to Tommy Built and he will have it fitted to be compatible with your setup. In front of your trigger, you have what would not be normally found on a military G36, or at least not to the best of my knowledge, a bolt catch and release lever. To lock your bolt back, you simply pull it back and push the L-shaped lever upwards. To let it go home, you simply push the lever down. Mag changes are almost as quick as an AR-15 when it comes to having this part installed. If you decide to SBR, keep in mind that the stock lengths between the C and K are different just as they would be with the G36C and K. If you'd like to add a brace, you can pick them up from Tommy Built Tactical, and it will feature the Gearhead Works tailhook assembly. The pin storage holes are also present, as well as the ability to fold to the right. All firearms have some strengths and weaknesses, whether it be something it did or didn't come with, or the platform itself, which will lead us into our compiled list of pros and cons. You should also keep in mind that Tommy Built specifically offers a clone. Therefore, many of the cons are a result of the 1990s tech. With that out of the way, we will start off with the things we didn't quite enjoy so that we can end on a positive note. Cons. Our first complaint is the trigger, as it leaves quite a bit to be desired. At some points while trying to shoot more rapidly, it felt like it wanted to hang up. It's a rough pull to say the least, and the best comparison that we can come up with is that it almost feels like trying to shoot a staple gun. The backup sights and rail. The sights are simply nothing to write home about. They feel flimsy, or at least the rear does, but they will get their job done when you need them. We were able to shoot accurately and with no issues. As for the rail, it makes manipulation of the charging handle on the T36 a pain under pressure or when trying to do it quickly. Luckily, Tommy Built also offers easily swappable custom carry handles that have more clearance. Lastly, the steep cost. These things are a head-turning boutique rifle for sure, and are a little harder to acquire by the average shooter out there who just enjoys shooting from time to time. But the same could be said with all the other proprietary offerings out there. If the G36 is a dream rifle of yours, like it was ours, then this might not be as much of a limiting factor for you. Moving on to the pros. For starters, they are manufactured domestically, so there's no need to stress over the annoyance of 922R compliance. The simple takedown pins make disassembly and swapping parts an easy task, and most are doable in under a minute. Tommy Built adds an extended bolt hold and release lever as a no-charge stock item with his T36s. Without this part, you'd have to charge the bolt manually after every reload. Where seconds matter, this is a great feature to have. Magpul, one of the most reliable magazine manufacturers in the world, makes G36 pattern magazines, and they aren't too expensive. We, as well as many others, can really appreciate it when a company includes a quality range bag or even backpack with their firearms rather than a cardboard box. Last but not least, the customer service. Tommy Built's customer service has been superb, even prior to making my purchases. Tom Bostic is upfront and honest and will gladly answer any questions that you have, even if you're just window shopping. He is very informative and do whatever he can to help you out and get you the model that you want. If you somehow have a problem with any of his products, no matter how small, he'll personally address them. Before we wrap things up, we'd like to answer a question that we typically see potential buyers asking people that have a couple of these models, which is, if you could have only one, which would it be? As for Chris, he chose the T36K, but not with the current optics. He prefers the longer barrels for the added velocity and for where he naturally places his supporting hand. As for me, I chose the T36C. I love the traditional look of the K, but when I think of the G36, I think of the C. I think of the popular video games I've played, like Rainbow Six and Battlefield, and even movies I've seen that are my personal favorites, such as Bad Boys 2, The Punisher, Sicario, and so on. I guess it also doesn't help that I'm a fiend for short-barreled rifles as it is. We really hope that you enjoyed our video, and hope that you will share with others that you believe may have an interest in what we've gone over. Please do us a solid and like our video if you enjoyed what we have presented, and please subscribe if you haven't already. We have plans to review more of our firearms, and the best way to stay connected to see what might be next is to follow us on Facebook and Instagram under the same name, The Average Shooter. Because we take pride in what we do and hope to bring you the best in future videos, if you have any constructive criticism, please offer it in the comments. We're always open to hear of ways that we can improve our content as we strive to make things more enjoyable for our viewers. If we helped inform or influence you with your purchase, please comment or send us a message to let us know what you ended up going with and why. We'd love to hear what led to your decision. As always, we hope to see you on the next one. The Average Shooter, out.